Alrighty. How's everybody doing today? So it's Sunday, just wrapped up chores at the end of the evening and figured I would have a coffee conversation here instead of standing out in the field and barking about something. Um, all right. Spring is definitely sprung here. We are pretty much fully going. This week we've got turkeys going out, 400 some odd turkeys going out to pasture tomorrow. 750 chickens coming in on Tuesday to the brooder. All kinds of stuff going on. A lot of sows farrowing. 20 of them about to start farrowing on Tuesday. Busy time. Spring has sprung. But what I wanted to, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. Yes, I have addictions in my life, people. You probably have some as well. And I am the kind of guy who drinks coffee at 6 in the evening. So don't judge me. What I wanted to come back to, though, was following up on the conversation about building a team, hiring people, interviewing that process, and why we are using a hybrid model, and maybe just add a little bit more, flesh to that idea as I'm sitting here. Um, the reason, I guess, why we have gone to this hybrid model, maybe I should just describe it first, that we've tried everything in the past from 100% salary, hourly, internships, apprenticeships, managers, all of these different kind of employment models that you've seen used a lot in this small farm space. We've dabbled in all of them and have now modified to what we call a hybrid model, for lack of a more creative term to use. And in this hybrid model, it is establishing a baseline salary for a baseline level of production, and then having a fair amount of incentive built into it, up to doubling their salary potentially. If they're a kind of person that gets after it. And the reason for that is to solve problems both for the potential employee and for us as the employer, or you as the employer. If you think of what causes stress from both sides of this equation, you have this concept of employment. You have two very different approaches to that. You have the approach from the employer side, and then you have the approach from the employee side. And so, what are the things that you worry about as the employer? Well, you worry about the job being done correctly, being done in a timely fashion, people showing up on time, people having their driver's licenses, just the basics of life kind of stuff. Carrying out the work with integrity, actually paying attention, all of these things. If you are coming from the employee side, what are things that you worry about? Will I be treated fairly? Will I be paid a fair wage for my work? Will I be respected as a person, in this process? Will the boss be reasonable, or is he just going to be a jerk a-hole to me? We've been, all of us probably have been on both sides of these equations, especially if you are watching this as a farm owner. You are an employer more than likely. And so, coming from both sides of this equation, you need to have balance in your approach, and really a dichotomy, referencing a Dichotomy of Leadership, a fantastic book by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. You should check it out and buy it. I did not get paid to say that. You need to have balance to the approach, and that is what we are trying to accomplish with this hybridized model of what are the stress points in my experience being an employer, what are the stress points that I can observe and receive feedback from employees, and also drawing on my own experience in the past, and how can we build a employment model that alleviates these stresses from both sides, and also builds in a healthy, let's say, tension between performance and incentive slash reward. That, hey, you're not going to get paid just to exist here, but you are going to get rewarded for going above and beyond. However, we're not putting it on 100%, commission, let's say, um, because that's something that frankly puts up red flags for a potential employee. Most people, when they are looking at a scenario of employment, when you throw out that, hey, we're 100% commission driven or incentive driven here, what that potential employee hears is they're trying to shortchange me. They're not going to pay me what they're trying to cheat me on this. They're trying to skimp. And so this hybridized model, what we lay out is a baseline. And as farmers, we're used to working 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Not the healthiest thing to do, but a lot of times that's what we do. I think for Laura and I, 10 years into this farming thing, we probably are working, let's say, 330 to 340 days out of the year, with maybe 20 days that would be truly 25 days that would be truly off days, where we are away from the farm and not actively thinking about what's going on. And I lost my train of thought on there. Oh, so you notice though a slide when you bring on an employee, if you're paying them by the hour, there is this gap in attention, in attentiveness, in getting after it when a certain threshold is passed. For some person, it might be the 20 hours in a week, 2 days, and they're already starting to flame out. Another person, maybe they can go 10 days straight without having a flame out. But somewhere in there, there needs to be a break. For some reason, our culture right now revolves around the 5-day work week, and you have the weekends off, and that's fine, I suppose, if you're doing widgets. That does not work for biology, though, in running a farm. We have to be here every day of the week, and pretty much every day has a similar workload requirement. So we actually structure, for our operations side of the farm, our baseline salary is built around spending half of the weeks here 3 days a week and half of the weeks here 4 days a week. So it comes out to 175 days for a year. And I would rather have someone here 4 days a week that's here 100% than having that slide off that we talked about before, and I think in another video, where they're not performing at the higher level. I'd rather just have more people here for a lesser amount of time with more attentiveness. Now, say it's that person who can work 10 days straight, and they want to get out and do stuff and work hard and earn a bunch of money. That's where we can begin to incentivize their additional days here on the farm. So we set it up 3.5 day a week average, a baseline salary for that. Once they start crossing over those days, it comes out, I think, to about 17, 18 days a month. When they go over that amount for the month, we have a bonus rate. That's the incentive for additional days. So if they do an additional 5 days or 10 days in the month, we're going to pay them for those days at the next pay draw. And this is something else where building a standardized system for you as the employer, you as the boss, and sticking to that brings more stability to these relationships. That, hey, employee X, your pay draw is going to be on the 1st and the 15th. You, new guy, you're on the 7th and 21st, and we can split up when this cash is flowing out. And we do 100% direct deposit with our employees now. When you come here and work, you have to get a bank account, which surprisingly, I guess maybe not surprisingly, most of them have to do. They don't have a bank account. They're used to getting a check when they get paid, going down and cashing it at the convenience store, paying a fee for that, going to the check cashing place. No, we're treating this, we're treating our farm as we would any other business, I hope. Bringing a level of, just decorum, not even decorum, but just, business atmosphere to what we do, that this isn't a fly-by-night where, you get paid cash periodically, or, a check whenever the boss feels like it. You have set pay days, that these are when you get paid. and we do it as a direct transfer using a payroll service. They suck it out of our account. They withhold the proper taxes. They dump it into the employee's account. Employee gets their pay stub in the mail whenever, and the payroll service takes care of filing the taxes and all of that. When we start conducting ourselves as ownership, as the leaders of a farm business, with this level of just professionalism, let's say that, hey, this is how we're going to operate our business, it brings up the level of performance and just kind of conduct that your employees have when you start treating your farm business like an actual business and doing business like things instead of just having this willy-nilly kind of setup. A little bit of a rabbit trail there, but grant me that. So coming back to this hybridized model, baseline salary with an outline of what the position entails. So if it's an operational person, that I handle out in the field, there's a 3-page document that we go over when we hire them and say, hey, these are the minimum expectations that we have. Over this period of time, we have this probationary hire for a period of time where by the end of this time, I expect you to know these 5 things, these 6 things, or whatever, and be pretty much 100% proficient in them. And these are very achievable things. You know what the layout of the water system is and how to troubleshoot it. You're familiar with our mantra of feed, water, fence, which is kind of our little ditty for everything that we do when we're checking animals and so on. And at the end of that probationary hire, you now are eligible for these incentives that are built in. So I tried to build as much incentive into them being the best person they can while they're here. Hey, you work extra days at your high level of performance that I've come to expect, good. You're going to get paid more for that. Hey, you are capable of every piece of machinery on the farm and how to operate them safely for part of the job. There's an incentive built in for that. For Laura's side, with her people in marketing and order fulfillment, hey, if they do a delivery, there's incentive for that. If they are picking up product from a vendor, there's incentive for that. If they're driving their own vehicle, there's mileage and there's incentive for that. And so it gives your team a level of ownership in their own destiny, that it's not, I'm just showing up for work, I do what the boss tells me, and that's that. No, it is you as the employee are in control for about 50% of what you're going to make here. Are you actually going to go above and beyond? Are you going to put in these extra days? Are you going to make sure you're competent in the operation of everything that we do here? Are you going to be able to run the operation side by yourself if necessary? And there it will be reward for every one of these things. So what we've found in doing this for the last 6 months to a year, this is really something kind of new for us. It has relieved a lot of the stress that we have as ownership. That, hey, you know what? I'm not worried if people are not showing up at the exact minute of when I think we need to start. If they're a couple minutes late, that doesn't matter because we are working until this set list of things are done. And some days, if we're crushing it, we're out of here by 4:30, 5 o'clock, or they are. Other days, it might be 6:30 or 7. But we do what needs to be done to accomplish our mission as a team. And so we've totally removed that time element out of it, that we set reasonable expectations. And, me as the leader, it's my job to make sure that there is a correct balance between the expectations of a particular day and the time of that I need people to be here. We're not going to punch out a list that is going to keep me here till 10 o'clock at night. It's on you, it's on me as the leader to balance the task list for the day with a reasonable amount of time. But you know what? If someone is out doing a chore and they should have taken certain piece of gear with them and they didn't, and they got to spend 20 minutes coming back to get it and go back out, I'm not fretting about that, thinking, oh, they're on the clock, it's hourly, we're wasting all this time. No, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, I don't have to worry about someone burning out on the job because they're only expected to be here 3.5 days a week. And if they're pushing too hard after that, I can say, no, just, I only need you for 3 days next week. I only need you for 4 days. Take those days off. Recharge yourself. Go take care of those appointments you have. Flexibility with their appointments. People have lives, believe it or not. I know being farmers, our life is all just on the farm. But people have stuff to do. They've got appointments. They got DMV. They've got court, and they got to be able to move their schedule around a little bit. We build a lot of that flexibility in. Hey, if you've got a DMV thing today, go take care of it. We might go an extra hour or two this evening to make up for it. Not that big a deal. From the employee side, I think this alleviates a lot of the stress that they might have. That, hey, the boss is going to freak out if I tell him I need to take a couple hours to go do this, or the boss is going to yell at me for being too slow on this particular thing. I'm going to encourage them and try to facilitate more efficient application of something like that for sure. But I'm not over here. They don't have to feel the pressure of me feeling stressed about this time to pay relationship that exists in a lot of the workplace. So kind of rambled on for 15 minutes about that, but just kind of to summarize it, when you are hiring people, figure out what it is that person is here for. And yes, part of it is for them to work on your farm and address labor concerns, but it also, you need to make sure that their presence on your farm is not putting more pressure on you than you are already experiencing. I heard something great the other day, and I forget who said it, but they were saying, when you hire people, they are coming to your company to solve problems for you. They shouldn't be bringing additional problems. You are hiring them to make your life easier and to make your time more available for those higher priority things that you as a leader need to be dealing with and handling. And so think about it in that lens when you're hiring people, of what problems will they be able to solve for you, not just be a pair of hands there standing around in their pockets waiting to be told what to do. That person is coming into our organization to help solve problems. And then how can we reward them for addressing problems and solving them on their own? So that's kind of what we're doing. Our, I guess, new model, you could say, of employment. Like I said, we've been doing it for, maybe about a year that we've been kicking this around. Yes, we still do have some hourly people with our butchering crew, which is very part-time during the summer. And yes, I do have one other structure for one particular person who is my piglet nanny, that she is paid 100% commission, but it's fairly steady because we know when sows are farrowing, and she's paid to be there and make sure the farrowing is a success and that we are hitting a good number of piglets that are alive a few days later. Maybe I'll talk more about that sometime, but for now, that's all I got. The coffee is getting a little cold. Time to finish it up. Kick back for the evening, enjoy it a little bit. So we'll see you guys around soon. And I know a lot of you are getting busy as the spring goes on. Stay safe out there, be productive, and most importantly, get after it. We'll see you guys.